Well, hi, fellow old farts. I'm live here, but I'm going to try and get the I got to get the chat up here. How's everybody today? I know it's June in the middle of June in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm wearing a stocking hat. I'm wearing a beanie here. You know, what the hell could be going on? Well, if you've been under a rock, you don't know that the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup last night, and I think I've kind of made it obvious on a lot of fronts that I'm a pretty big fan of the Golden Knights. I think we've narrowed it down last night. We were going through stuff, and I missed watching 3 games this entire season. A few I got to see in person. I saw 5 regular season games live, and I got to see one playoff game. And but I mean, this is a thrill. You know, a team that you've watched every single game. They play 82 regular season games, and then I do believe that their playoff season in the NHL is the longest of any sports playoff season. And I have to tell you, it's an amazing thing to end up on top here, and it's been great, you know. So I'm thrilled. I'm sorry you're gonna get a lot of that from the Las Vegas crowd today. So, and speaking of the Las Vegas crowd, here, hold on a second. I'm working on my adjustments over here. Get my chat over here working. And thank you all for jumping in here. Everybody that's jumped in so far here. I'm gonna bring everybody. And thanks, Lance. I see you there. Captain Joe, yay. Thank you. And Arizona Drone Dude, you're always there. Max, thank you. All right. Thank you, Max Air. And Tom Dowling, of course, is in the chat. He's also going to be on the show here. I know I didn't get today or last night or yesterday or usually I promote the show and put a post up that says who's going to be on and what we're going to talk about. And I'm sorry, but my yesterday was sucked up by the hockey gods. And anyway, but we're having a great time. Gary is there, and Gary, I want to send you a link if you can jump on the show here in maybe about 20-30 minutes here. We can have a little conversation. My heart goes out to the Canadians inventing this game, and then the Final Four in the playoffs. The most northern team of the Final Four was Las Vegas, Nevada. The latitude, the most northern team is Las Vegas. So anyway, for the North, we won the cup. Okay. All right, everybody. I've been learning here, and Tom Dowling has been my mentor here in Las Vegas, and I know a lot of you know him, but I have been learning how to operate this kind of gizmo here. I got this with the intention that I could fly the Mini 3 Pro with this, and it's been a challenge, and it's been exciting. I have to tell you, it has been exciting. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we have a number of other topics. There is some legalish, legislative news that's constantly bombarding us here. Yeah, I'm sure everybody that's in this chat, none of you here are have not heard about amendments being introduced both in the House and the Senate in the United States Congress to outlaw DJI drones, some specifically outlining just DJI. Others are saying any drone manufactured in China. So, and, they're doing this without any provable evidence, at least to the general public, that they're stealing any data from anybody. And so anyway, but that's not just the gist of it. Tom, we're going to talk later here about the city of New York wants to issue permits to fly a drone. And this is a drastic, thing that, could easily spread to Las Vegas, could spread to, Miami, could spread to Seattle, could spread to every one of our cities, So, I mean, this is truly, truly a big problem. Anyway, without further ado, enough of my ranting and raving. Most of you know Tom Dowling. He retired from the New York Fire Department, FD New York, for many years, in charge of robotics and drones there for lots of years. Been a superb portrait photographer, a commercial photographer, long time, and a recent Nevada resident. He lives about maybe 2.5 miles from me, and we're on the same side of the town here, and we're living in Las Vegas. And without further ado, Tom Dowling. Hey.
Well, there's an introduction there. Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hey, everyone in the chat. A couple new faces, yes. But plenty of old faces, definitely.
Yes, our good old faces. We like old.
Yep. We're in my new hometown, sporting the Vegas Golden Knights, Stanley Cup champs. The big difference between living here and living in New York, I have to wait every 40 years for the New York Rangers to win a Stanley Cup. So, the owner of the Knights said he was going to bring home a cup in 6 years, and the team's been here since 2017. So here's the 6-year mark.
They were announced 2016 is when we were awarded the franchise. That's, and we had to sell a certain percentage of season tickets ahead of time before they would award the franchise. And then we got awarded the franchise, and they broke ground on the stadium. And in 2017, we've played our first season.
Well, this is now the second professional championship team. We have the Las Vegas Aces. Women's,
Aja Wilson.
Yep. Women's basketball. In fact, they have a practice facility not far from my house, which is directly next door to the Raiders practice facility. And headquarters. So they've done a wonderful job on the T-Mobile. They've done a wonderful job on the Allegiant. And now we got to figure out.
We're going to be the Las Vegas,
athletics
PR agency here today.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Hey, a lot going on here. Plenty of great places to eat. Okay, my taxes are little to nothing compared to New York. You hear that, Max? Although there's not a lot of wood. Although there's not a lot of wood to chop here, Max. But This is a pension-friendly state for those old farts that are looking for retirement destinations. They don't tax my pension. They don't tax Social Security out here. It's a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. And we got a championship hockey team, which, by the way, what is it, Bob? I think it's 19 of the 24 rostered players are Canadians
18,
from the Vegas. 18,
18,
18 of them.
18,
So that
18,
Stanley Cup
yes,
is going to spend a lot of time up
in
in
Canada.
Canada.
Yes, it will. It will. But we will have it. If any of you are, like just so excited that you have to do this, if you can get here by Saturday, we're going to have a killer parade on Saturday. I understand it's going right down the middle of the strip, but
Well, you know what? So that's debatable, right? We got so much going on here. This is also known, I found out, the land of cones, traffic cones. Okay.
yeah,
I believe there's more traffic cones per capita in Las Vegas than anywhere else in the United
of
States.
course,
Uh,
of course.
but I still
Yeah.
get around. I still get around 1,000 times quicker than being in New York City. So I can't complain.
Yeah, don't complain. Don't complain.
Oh, we got F1
So,
racing come November, right?
yes, F1's
Yeah.
here in November. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to Africa when F1 comes here. So that's my escape from Las Vegas. But anyway, let's talk about the flying with goggles, Tom. What did you do? How did you? I mean, did you, when you first put on a pair of goggles, you had been a camera drone guy to begin with,
Right,
right?
right. And then I started
And
flying
then
the DJI FPV was the first
okay,
one.
that was your first time
That was my
with
first
goggles.
with
Okay,
goggles. And then, of course, when the Avata came out, I'm a staunch advocate of the Avata, both with
I
the
know.
regular RC and the motion controller, especially now with the motion controller too. It's awesome. But
Yes.
I've been saying for a while that as a photographer going back 40 years of experience as a professional photographer, I still look through the viewfinder. I don't care if my camera bodies, my mirrorless and DSLR camera bodies are have screens on the back of them, large video screens. I still look through the viewfinder because I want to really compose that shot. I'm not just clicking away. And I feel when you're looking at a screen, basically you can't take in all the detail and
Hmm.
compose the shot the way you like it. Of course, back in post, the reason why we take these large megapixel images is so that we have some croppability, right? But putting a pair of goggles on and flying a camera drone brings me back to that. Okay. Brings me back to looking through that viewfinder, being able to compose the images I want to. And you know, being able to do that and use your the RC to accomplish it uh became a big change for me. So I'm able now to compose my shots, even shooting video with the camera drones. You want to take a certain line towards things, or as the scene starts to change, you want to be able to react to it. Well, with that first person view, how much closer can you get to what's being captured? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, our big problem is,
Yeah.
we need a tent out in the middle of the desert when we're shooting because,
Oh well, the heat
you
and
know,
the yes, obviously the
it's more so that, you need a
direct sun.
2000 plus nit continuous monitor to even have half a clue as to what you're looking at out there. Because I'll tell
It
you,
is very difficult.
when that high sun hits that controller screen, uh, I don't know about you guys, but these eyes aren't getting any younger. So, uh,
No,
you know,
and I don't know if it's me getting older but it is incredibly bright here. I mean,
Yeah.
the intensity of the sunshine in the southwest of the United States, I guess, is maybe, I don't want to just say Nevada, but I mean just the, southwest. I mean, it is incredibly bright. I've started putting a 64 on and just leave it on, and I
Yeah,
mean, if it,
that's right. It's funny to say that, Bob, because I
yeah,
switched over about I would say a half a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, from a 16 to a 32. It's like the change of seasons also. Okay.
yeah,
As we start to lose cloud cover, I mean, we have clouds throughout the year, but what becomes very
yeah,
obvious in the summertime is they don't make it this side of the mountains. Uh,
no,
they they evaporate before they get here, and we have nothing
yeah,
but wide open sky.
right.
And
We, we
as
went last year. We went over 100 days at over 100 degrees,
yeah,
and over 100 days with 0%,
uh,
zero rainfall,
precipitation, yeah, yeah,
precipitation. Yeah,
yeah.
you know. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, me and
It's
SPF 100 have an intimate relationship, okay?
yes.
So, uh,
Me too.
Bob will tell you, you never see me without like a Columbia PFG long sleeve,
Yes.
Omni shade shirt on, okay? My
Yeah.
clothing even
He's got
has to
the
come with an SPF 50 rating, okay?
yes.
Yeah, I only come in two shades, lobster red and Minnesota white. There's like nothing
Yeah,
in
yeah,
between,
me too. I have
okay?
never I
Yeah.
have never been tan
The
in my
Irish blood,
life.
Bob. It's the Irish blood.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I only burn, I don't tan.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just doesn't work here. I don't get that, so
Yeah, Joe Joe
yes.
Joe Joe agreed, like, he never uses the screen with a camera, right. Yeah, because, you know, c what separates there's 2 really
Uh-huh.
basic things that separate pros from amateurs, okay, and I'm gonna clue you into those 2 secret things. The 2
Okay.
secret things are, uh we never take one shot of anything. A pro never takes one shot of anything. So,
Yeah.
to illustrate with my super duper phone here, okay, if I'm going to take a shot this way, I'm going to take at least one that way. And I'm going to keep taking them until I realize the picture I already had in my head as to what I wanted to realize. So, that's one thing. And the second one is you'll only see the very best shot I took. I'm not going to throw a 96 plus gallery up on
Yeah.
Facebook and expect anybody to look at it. And sorry for those of you that do. Uh, Learn how to critique your own work, so this way you'll be receptive
Yep.
to others critiquing your work.
Yep.
So, you know, I had a
Excellent.
friend actually. He shot. He shot in the photo unit on my job, and we were out on a photo walk that I had set up on a weekend, and we did the Intrepid Airspace Museum. And he said to me, "Hey, I'd like you to take a look at some of my shots." I said, "Yeah, okay. Drop off a CD next week. I'll take a look." And he came in and he handed me a DVD, and I said, "Oh, why'd you waste a DVD?" He said, "Because the 670 shots wouldn't fit on the CD."
I don't want to look at 600
And
shots.
so I honestly took the disc and reached back and threw it into my waste paper basket. And he goes, "What are you doing?"
Oh.
And I said to him, I said exactly what you just said, Bob. I said, "Look, I don't want to look at 670 of my own shots, let alone yours." I said, "Come back and give me, you know, 3 or 4 of your best
Yes.
images that you shot." Okay. I mean,
I only want your best.
for weddings, we would shoot 4,000 images between me and a second shooter. And,
Yeah.
I would have to, because it was my business, I would have to go through those shots. But the bigger problem was if you showed a bride 3,000 images, you're not even going to get to complete that order ever in your life.
Yeah, she'll never
Okay.
decide.
Right.
No,
So you
no,
give them a workbook
no.
with 150 images, and you tell them, you don't show them environmentals. You just say, hey, tell me what shots you never want to see in an album. Because I don't know that she really didn't want Uncle Harry there. She had a bad instance with Uncle Harry. How
Yeah.
would I know that? But but don't show everything. And what's great
No.
about using the goggles to bring it back full circle, Bob, is I'm able to compose those shots now. I'm able to see,
Hmm.
out in that desert, Bob, we have some spectacular colors and patterns and things just happening around us. And now with those
Yeah.
goggles on, and you're talking about some great resolution in those goggles that you're
Oh
able
yeah.
to discern those things that will make your video so much better.
Yeah. So let's take a look at my mess here. This is from my goggles. I'm out with Tom. Uh, Here, let me
Tom brings
take
his own
that off.
shade with him.
Tom, who brought his own shade, all in. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me go back. Roll this back a hair here. I think we can see our. There's our camp right
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
This is a
yeah. There's
great
the
dry
camp.
lake bed. Yeah.
Yes, there. That's Tom's landing pad. That's my landing pad. Uh, and that's where we are there. I don't know if I can zoom in on that or no. I don't know. No, it just it doesn't
We
move that way.
we had a great spot as always,
Oh
which there's
yeah,
nothing but great spots in here.
yes, yeah. So let me zoom up here a little bit. I'm, I know I've left it in FPV. So and so I'm I I'm feeling like it's a way more shaky than I've ever experienced before, kind of thing. And I know that's just me getting used to the idea that I'm flying this, you know, I'm flying this with my head and with with a stick in my hand instead of two sticks on my thumbs, and I do fly with my thumbs there. So uh anyway, but yes, this I think this is where I was trying head movements, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah, so that's something that when you first start out with this, is you have the ability to do head tracking. So this carries over from the Avata, where you could do head tracking with the Avata, and that's especially risky. That you need to get your feet wet first, like when you're using the motion controller, because
Yeah.
that head tracking only works with the motion controller. So, these are things you just got to get a little used to, because where you're going and what you're looking at are two different things. So I know, Bob, like you were
Hmm.
saying, it's a little disconcerting when you're using the head
Yeah.
tracking. But the head tracking, once you get in a little bit in tune with it, you start to realize that it gives you a lot of capability. Like,
Now you're getting
especially
a better
like,
shot there of Tom's hood there.
yep, which I broke out a second one for Bob's chair, by the way. So,
Yes, he
you know,
did.
yes. Okay. Hate to see Santa burn there. So, but
And now you're getting the back end of my car there. But anyway, yeah, that's so you know, I was
you
I
took
was
to it
just
pretty quick, though, Bob. You did take to it pretty quick. But Bob's not showing you some of his finished shots, but he'll get to
no.
that. He'll put those together eventually. But
Yeah, no,
you
I
know,
have I've got them. I got a couple things I can queue up here, but no, it's you know it's different, and I that's what I
yeah,
think I want to like share with the audience here is that you're going to have to take a few days of acclimating from
yeah,
from looking at the screen. I mean, I've been flying for it's now 3.5 years. And since I got I got a Mavic Mini, right after it came out in December of 2019 is when I got that. And now when I'm flying with a regular controller, I'm pretty confident of, what I'm doing, where it is, and what I want to do next. And I can do, I mean, it's become that muscle memory thing
Yeah.
that we all have developed over the course of time. It's similar like when I'm driving my car, I'm not paying attention that I'm turning the wheel this way or putting my foot on the brake. It's just automatic, kind of thing. So I mean that same memory is working flying, with a controller and a screen, but now flying with this
You have the Integra
this
goggles.
stick
Oh yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course I was doing this. I'm doing this. I'm moving it this way and that way, and then up and like this and down like that. Tom gave me guidance that I should strap my arm to the chair and do this all here from my wrist.
It's all on the
And that's
wrist.
it.
All on the
Yes.
wrist. Right? And
Yes.
that's the thing about it. It's funny. I'll give you a little analogy. So when we bought our first Wii game center, of course,
Uh-huh.
tennis was the game, and you would put
Mhm.
those controllers into those little fake tennis rackets, right? Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the couch just moving my wrist a little bit here, a little bit there, and my wife is standing knocking over end table lamps, swinging away. Okay, I'm wondering why I'm match setting her each time.
Oh
Because
my goodness.
it really is. It's in the wrist
Yes.
with that motion controller. But that motion controller, let me tell you, adding the ability to back up with it, adding
I got him.
the joystick to it. The first thing you got to do, and Bob realized this right away, was change the rates. You got to change the rates. All the rates on the motion controller are set to numb. Okay. And you got to just up those rates. And, if you're a little leery, up them
Yeah.
halfway. But I'm going to tell you, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, when you get in tune with that motion controller, you're going to have all those rates set up high.
Oh yeah. I
Okay.
have to tell everybody, if you do get goggles, get somebody who knows what they're doing go with you. Tom went with me. He hooked up his phone to my goggles and then took me through the menus. That was immensely helpful, because we went to the speeds, setting up, the normal speed and the sports mode, and
Right.
we maxed all those out, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, it was like, why is this thing so pokey? I'm hitting reverse and it's like barely moving in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it's
It's set to snail
painfully
mode.
slow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. And once you
It-
have those rates set up, you start to realize some of the creative capabilities that those new rates give you. Like, look,
yeah.
some of the best cinematic drone shots are shots that happen across 3 different axes. Okay. So you're coming in on something, okay,
Uh-huh.
but you're also yaring around it, okay,
Hmm.
as you're gaining elevation. So
Right.
doing that with the sticks is pretty difficult. But if you do
Hmm.
them with the motion controller too and head tracking turned on, okay, you're going to be up for a photo award someplace, okay? Because they, and there's other things, there's other opportunities too. So this is, I think, as there's additional firmware releases, we're going to be able to do a better job of active tracking while wearing the goggles and using the motion controller on a camera
Mm,
drone. Okay. And I think that's really becomes the next step, because come on, we're always wanting for something we don't have, right? So that's what I want
of
at this
course.
point. Let me
Yes, yes,
let me just
yes.
put a
But you
target on
cannot.
something and fly around it in any direction I want, and and still stay with it. That's what I would love to do.
So let me ask you, we cannot do active tracking
It's hard
with
to see.
goggles?
So here's what's
How do
happening
you
when we're
select
doing. Well,
the
that's the
target?
problem, Bob. So right now, the way we have it, you know, we the only way you can do it right now is you can do it with the RC. Okay. Not so with the RC, of course, you can put a target around it, on the screen with your
Uh-huh.
finger. But the problem is we're wearing goggles. So we got to put the goggles up. We got to look at something. We got to put a track around it, select it, say we're doing spotlight mode or we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see some way of me just being able to use the goggles. Okay. Now, here's the difference. On my goggles, I have a touchpad.
Mhm.
On your goggles, you have a menu. You have like a joystick, correct? So
Yeah.
you don't have on the Integras, you don't have the pad on the side, the
Right.
motion pad. Yeah.
Right. So
So,
I mean, I
you
can't
know,
select and drag.
it would right now it would be difficult. Yeah. That's I
Yeah.
would love to see that ability, you know.
Uh-huh.
Because unfortunately, when I'm looking to do that, it's usually while I'm already involved in doing something, and then I don't want to stop and lift the goggles and then make a selection on the RC and then put the goggles back down and you know, but that
Yeah.
would be nice to do. Yeah. But it's a
Well,
totally different world. It really is. Now you're seeing first person, okay? The
yeah.
shots you're really collecting, and especially in situations where there might be a lot of detail you're trying to catch, or you're in very, very bright conditions. Uh,
Mhm.
there's no better way of doing it.
Yeah. So listen, we tried this when me and Tom were out for, people in the audience here. I don't know if anybody else is interested in this, but I had seen that you could start the drone up using the DJI RC with the built-in video
Screen.
screen and get the drone up and stable. And at that point, then put the goggles on and turn the goggles on, not even have them turned on, then turn the goggles on. And
Lo
it
and
took
behold,
about 45 seconds or a minute, all of a sudden I could see
yeah,
I saw the image and the goggles, and I was flying the drone with the DJI RC.
RC. Yep.
But I also, the whole time I'm doing that, I'm getting an error message on the screen saying, that this aircraft is only with motion 2 controller or something like that. There was
It gave
an
you a
error,
binding. It gave you a binding error, right?
some
Yeah,
error
it was a
there.
binding
But
error
if
we
you
got.
ignored
Yeah,
the error, it
which we
flew
did.
just fine.
Yeah, which we
And
did.
but I have to tell you, I'm sure if I crashed that drone and DJI wanted to see my flight record from that flight, okay, they probably would not cover it. Do you think I'm right?
I would say in response to that, what do you mean I was using goggles? So that might be an inherent problem with your software. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
why didn't it unbind from the last time I was using the goggles? I don't understand that. So, hey, it
I
happens. It
did
happens.
have to rebind my mini after I got back, and I came back and there was an update and all that, and my RC and my uh, drone didn't repair by themselves automatically. I had
Oh,
to
so you
repair them.
and mine did. That's a little weird.
Okay. I had
Yeah.
to I had to like log out of my account and sign back into my
Hmm,
DJI account.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I did this a few days ago, but yeah. So anyway, I think they need a smoother method period when you're going back and forth from the RC controller to the goggles and the Motion 2 controller. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a step there that's
that
awkward,
might be causing the problem. Yeah, and
you know.
it is pretty seamless going from one drone to the other, as far as going from the Avata to the Mini
Yeah.
3 and from the Mini 3 back using the goggle and the motion controller. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but that's just through the menuing system. Is basically when it comes up, you're bringing up status and you're
Yeah.
saying, it'll display
Which drone?
which aircraft
Yeah.
you have, and you can switch from there. Okay.
Right.
And that seemed to work pretty well. So, but I think there'll be some firmware adjustments.
I hope so.
And
Yes.
now that people are finding out that you can use the DJI-RC to fly with, and look, if it wasn't meant to happen, we wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, that's the way
You
I
know,
look
it may have been
at it.
something
Okay?
they
An
left in
oversight,
there, you know.
it's let's see if it's worth exploring this, this development path. Let's just
Uh-huh.
see if there's any action on the consumer side. So that could be
Huh.
it also. Okay. And so
Yeah.
I really do think there'll be some firmware adjustments that make it easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about New York.
Oh boy. Well,
I mean,
again, it makes
we
me
have
happy to
been.
be out here, Bob, after the Red Dawn Rising incident last week with the fires up in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And the air quality plummeting to the worst in the world.
Yeah.
Me and my wife look at each other and go, "Hey, we got out of Dodge at the right time, huh?" Uh,
Yeah.
but what you're referencing it, Bob, is that there's been some well, let me explain it this way. The New York City Police Department, NYPD, has presented an amendment to the administrative code of the city of New York to allow the permitted use of UAVs, drones. And that sounds great. I mean, being able to fly in New York City with a permit, as a commercial flyer, well, it's only good if you're a large production company with a ton of resources and a ton of time and plenty of dollars. Uh, if you're a hobbyist or a commercial drone flyer, small to medium scale commercial drone flyer, um, you're going to be SOL. You're going to be shit out of luck. First off, there's no timeline set for how long it would take to issue a permit. Secondly, it requires a great deal of resources to be applied for the permitting process. And third, it requires a $5 million minimum insurance binder.
Liability insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But there's still so many other resources that you have in place. And
And
not
how
only
would they
that,
enforce this? Who's going to enforce this?
well, of course, the NY put forward the bill because the NYPD is sick and tired of being put in the middle. You got Karens complaining people are flying drones, and then you have the abrogation law that dates back to the mid 1940s, where they were worried about everybody having flying cars and crashing into each other over crosswalks. That you're not
Uh-huh.
allowed to take off or land within New York City unless you're at 5 specific locations. Okay. And those are AMA fields. But if
Yeah.
anyone knows, and I'm sorry if there's AMA uh, staunch advocates on here, I do
Yeah.
carry an AMA membership. But when I show up to an AMA field, I get looked down upon and I get told everything I can't do instead of being welcomed into the fold. Only when a fixed wing RC pilot crashes his RC do they come to you as the drone pilot and go, "Hey, can you go find my downed aircraft?" Okay. Yep.
There's
Yep.
my AMA membership. Yep. I get the same feeling
Yeah. So
also.
look, I flew in New York. Did I fly in Manhattan? No, I did not fly in Manhattan because just from a standpoint of common sense, it's not the right place to fly with the density of the population and the buildings there. Okay, unless that was being done professionally and you had RTK, real time kinematics, employed to make sure that your resolution was down to 2 centimeters or less as far as your flying capability, I would
Mm-hmm.
not fly in
Yes.
Manhattan. Okay. Um, but there were plenty of opportunities, and I'm going to go ahead. I'll share my screen
Sure.
here.
Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it.
And
We'd like to see this.
so,
Okay.
this is like 6 a.m. in the morning over the East River. This is going back probably 5, 6 years ago. Um, and it's just, if you're in New York, you take a lot of this for granted. Okay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what you see around you. And Bob, we do the same thing out here in the Vegas area, right? We take for
Yeah.
granted sometimes what we have
Oh,
around
yeah.
us. It's not till you move someplace else you realize, oh wow, I wish I would have shot that. I wish I would have shot this. So
Right.
we did a lot
Right.
of flying along the rivers. Okay. So that's where we flew around a lot. And
Yep.
so
As
but
like
we
our
flew
friend Billy
safely.
Kyle flies up and down the river, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. In fact, Billy's come to New York and we've flown there. We've, it really, it's, are you operating safely? Okay. There's a huge group, New York City 5 borough drone group up on Facebook, thousands of members. Okay. And what it really promotes, and there's several other groups too, and I don't mean to disparage any other groups by not mentioning them, but
Uh-huh.
there's a ton of other groups. And we would get out and we would fly together. It was a great New York City community.
Yeah.
Okay. We would fly
So,
safely. We'd watch each other's
right.
back. We would make sure,
Yeah.
and we're talking about going out there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know, all the hipsters are
So
still
what can
asleep
we
because
do?
they just got in. Well, here's what you got to do. There are periods for discussion, and this one right now allows open discussion. And here's my recommendation: look it up, look how to make comments, and be professional when you make those comments. Be cordial when you make those comments. Use this as
Mhm.
an opportunity to educate them to other and better ideas. Don't go on a disparagement, campaign, okay?
Mhm.
Because that won't
No,
get us anywhere. Uh,
yeah.
talk about it. Talk about how it impacts, okay, the ability to recreate, the ability to conduct commerce. Now, if
Mhm.
you're only going to allow the top studios in New York City to fly a drone, what happens to the roofing inspections? Okay.
Yeah.
What happens to the civil surveys, the construction projects? Okay. Impact reviews, all those types of things. And if they keep putting those constraints, what happens to those that have to use these for government use? Well,
Mhm.
unfortunately, we're fighting this on how many different fronts, Bob? So,
Oh, yeah.
we have the situation now where they want to ban DJI drones, they want to ban uh, Chinese drones. We made a decision to globalize many years ago, and that decision was made with our pockets. And now we're going to
Uh-huh.
try to pull back the reins on this. And Bob was instrumental in getting up in front of a Senate subcommittee in Nevada uh, to put his views in, and it got me involved also. And that's what we need to do as a community. We need to
Yep.
speak up. We need to say, hey, hold on a second. How about this? Or did you think about that? Okay. offer suggestions, offer alternative routes, offer a different point of view. Okay. And that's important. And if we don't do
I
that,
agree.
then we can't sit here and commiserate Monday morning and say, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. Well, we didn't take the opportunity to put that forward.
Yes. So I agree. So I mean, do you think that feedback from people outside of New York will have any
Absolutely.
impact on this?
Yeah, well, remember that New York is a destination location, just like we are out here, Bob,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so Nevada, and especially Southern Nevada, relies heavily on tourists,
Of course.
heavily on
Yes.
tourists.
That's our
And
industry.
and tell me, do any of the videos that we put together, the content we put together, does that aid in that at all? Of course it does. These become travel logs. These become uh, uh, local attractions to see because
Right.
we're presenting them in a very unique point of view.
Yes.
That only lends itself, and then there's remember that New York City is an international commerce hub.
Yeah.
So there are all types of businesses that I have to operate for a
Yeah.
variety of reasons there.
True. Okay.
I mean,
All right. All right.
I had
Good. I think we should all do that.
you should
I
turn
think,
around, look it up. There's plenty of
Yep.
information on the internet regarding this, and
Yep.
just follow up and just even if it's just a couple of sentences as to what your feelings are regarding this, or how restrictive it is, or how it is going to eliminate a whole recreational community that currently
I
exists.
agree.
Okay.
All right, good. I got to bring in another guest here. By the way, if anybody wants to jump in here today, we're going to have another about half hour or so here. But if you want to jump in, the link is now in the chat. Okay, so you're welcome to jump in. I want to bring in Gary.
Hey,
Mr. Branch Ariels.
Oh, does that mean the
Gary.
show is almost over?
No.
That means there's only a minute left of the show? Boy, you're ending early today.
No.
wow.
No.
How are you, Gary?
No, I have to tell you, Gary has been my Canadian consultant during the Stanley Cup run here, and we have chatted during every game. I think at least of this last series here we have, and I posted something on Facebook today specifically for Gary. Okay. And here it is,
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
This is for my Canadian friends.
Well, I've got to thank you, Bob, for helping me stay involved with the playoffs. It was like being in Nevada.
Yes.
Every goal I sent you the red goal light, and
yes,
followed through. And like I said, I texted you on May the 29th and said that was the night that Florida, or no, the night that Vegas eliminated
that we beat Dallas.
Yeah.
Yes.
On May 29th, I said Vegas in 5.
Yes, you did. I have to tell you, I want to give you all the kudos here. You certainly did. And, you gave that to us. And I have to tell you, I truly, it was just wonderful. Here's my this hot babe here, and that's her mother. Believe it or not, live across the street from me. Here we. Everybody, when the game ended, I mean, we heard a lot of fireworks in our neighborhood, and
nice.
And everybody kind of gravitated outside, and that's all our little doggies and everything here. There, this was I posted right before the game. I said, "Okay, Grogu, give the Knights the special Mojo, the special sacred Mojo here,
Nice. Nice.
and we have so many great shots of people in Golden Knight jerseys here, and here I want to show you one more down here. How about this one here? You know, I
Very
mean,
good.
this was a presentation actually in 2017. This is an old picture. Okay, this was from 2017 when the team started, and I don't know, somebody visited the Pope here
Very
and
good.
gave him a jersey. You know, so
Nice.
I gave him a
Nice.
sweater.
Yeah.
So
Now, a lot of people don't know, Bob, but you're a longtime Chicago Blackhawks fan too, eh?
yes, I'm a convert.
There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I've been uh, from the time I was 4 or 5 years old. I mean, we got hockey skates for Christmas. I mean,
Yep.
that's what you give a 4-year-old in Chicago,
Yep. Yep.
and a stick and a couple pucks, and we turned our sled over sideways, and that was the goal, and we
Yep.
had ponds and creeks to skate on, and so yes, I've been an early skater, and then my father's was handicapped, but I had an uncle who took me to Stanley Cup playoff games in Chicago
Very nice.
when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
first time I saw the inside of a tavern, a real bar, was my uncle took me there. I was probably 12 years old, took me to this bar, and we got on a bus from that bar and then went to the Chicago Stadium to a game, kind
Nice.
of thing. And then
Yep.
got back on the bus with all these drunk guys and went back to the bar, kind of
Drink
thing.
some more.
So,
Well, much
Yeah, that's a
much
hockey
like
town.
me, I started off as a hockey fan as a youngster and a skater and a player, and it goes back 65 years.
yeah.
you know, but
Yeah,
my
me
my
too.
my team back then was the Montreal Canadiens. We had
Yeah.
a relative in the family who played for the Canadiens, and
Oh,
I used to get a
yeah.
Montreal Canadiens signed calendar every year. Why I never kept those, I'll never know.
Oh, my goodness.
But when I was 8 or 10 years old, my father took me to a hockey game at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and the Montreal Canadiens were playing. We were sitting up behind the net, and the players came out for their pregame skate. And my dad yelled down to Ralph Backstrom, "Hey, Ralph!" And he looked up and he waved and he said, "Hey, Frank, come on down to the locker room after the game." I expected that we might meet the guy after the game, right?
Yeah.
So we go down to the locker room. We find the locker room in Maple Leaf Gardens, and out
Yeah.
comes Ralph Backstrom without his skates, but in his full uniform. He says, "Come on in." I actually got
Oh,
to go into the dressing room, and
oh my God.
I saw this giant in there, and he shook my hand, but I shook all over. It was Jean Beliveau. And he said
Yes.
in a very French accent, "It's a pleasure to meet you."
Yeah.
And
You said oui, oui.
I'll tell you,
Yes.
that's a moment I'll never forget.
Yeah,
And
those are moments you keep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Oh, those are, yes.
yeah,
I grew up playing steel wheels hockey. For those of you that don't understand that, that was wearing skates.
Skate.
I
Yeah.
actually played in Notch, North American Roller Hockey Championship Series, in a
roller hockey.
semi-pro capacity, inline skates on roll up.
Yeah.
Used to make a couple of $100 on weekends playing hockey, and then I coached for a long time. So my friend, the kids we grew up with, two of them made it into the NHL, and one of them, Danny Dorian, was with the New Jersey Devils. And then he left and he went to Europe, and he played in Europe for several years. Well, he
Wow.
came back. He was going to coach in the AHL, but Chelsea Piers, a large skating facility in New York City, in Manhattan, not far from Madison Square Garden, opened up with two pro rinks in it, and he took over as director of hockey ops. So I was a USA certified official. So I would do three games on a Sunday morning. Two of them were industrial men's games, and then it was one little mites game. So when you're playing with these little 6-year-olds, it's like one of those old plug-in football games where all the pieces move together. So wherever the puck is, that's where all 12 hockey players are, even though the goalie's out of his net and across the red line. Okay. So, so whenever I'm doing a face-off, I'm also acting as a coach. No, you got to line up here. Okay. You got to put your stick down first, doing all that. So in between during the first intermission, I'm over by the scorer's booth, which was near where the parents' bleachers were. And I'm talking to the scorer. And one of the parents walks up and just says, hey, ref, you're coaching a great game. And, that sounded funny. And I looked up, and it was Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, wow.
His kid was out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So my buddy Danny Dorian came over, and he went up to Wayne and he said, parents can get ejected for interfering with officials. I think you need to sit down. And then they hugged each other. Okay. So I wound up having lunch with him later on that day after the games were done. We had lunch together with Danny and all at the Chelsea Brewing Company right downstairs. So fast forward a few years, I take my son up, Gary, to see the last New York Ranger game at Maple Leaf Garden.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And we stayed in the same hotel as the Rangers, and so we wound up going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, which for those of you that don't know is in downtown Toronto. Okay. And this was before they moved over to the Air Center. So we happened to be at a restaurant that one afternoon called Gretzky's Place.
Yep.
Where Walter, that's Papa Gretzky.
Yeah.
Okay. Runs this restaurant, and it's like a mini museum. Okay. We, in fact, sat in a booth where the 99th goal Wayne had scored was embedded in lucite. Okay. So my son ordered the Gretzky burger, and it actually came with 99 grilled into the burger. Right.
Nice.
I had Mama Gretzky's pierogies.
Yep.
Okay. So all of a sudden I see Wayne talking to what I then found out was his dad up at the bar. So I told my son, hey, go get an autograph. Oh, I don't know. I said, your grandfather is the biggest Ranger fan on the planet. Go up there, and Father's Day is coming up. You can get one for him. That's a great present. So he goes up there, and I figured, oh, what the heck? I go up there, but I wait a minute or two, and he doesn't know I'm standing behind him. So now my son gets up to Wayne, and he's stuttering, and Wayne looks up and he goes, hey, Tom, how have you been? And I'm like, oh, not bad, Wayne. And he goes, oh, this is my dad, Walter. And I go, oh, pleasure to meet you. My son turns around and gives me a look at like, what life have you been
You just
leading?
became a god,
Okay. So for my man cave, I was able to get an autographed Wayne Gretzky photo that said to Coach Tom from Wayne, and then he had his father sign it also, Walter Gretzky. So
very nice.
So my only issue, Gary, is I as a New York Ranger fan, I have to wait every 40 years to win a Stanley Cup. Now you poor Canadians are trying to catch up here. What is it? Almost 30 years? How many years now since we got a
93
Canadian team lifting?
Yeah, 93. Yeah,
93. So the Rangers won in 94. You can't let the Rangers get one before a Canadian team now. Okay.
Well,
I'm rooting for.
While you're on about Gretzky's restaurant, let me tell you a quick story. Yeah. When Gretzky's restaurant closed, they've closed that restaurant now and built condominiums in that place. There was an online auction for memorabilia from the restaurant.
From there? Oh my God, that place was chock full.
Oh. So what I did, I bought 2 of the bar tables.
Nice.
For $329 or something.
Nice.
Right? And I bought the 2 bar tables, intending to put one of them in our pool house, and it's out there now. It's got the the Gretzky 99 on it,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
all
yeah,
Verithaned
yeah.
and stuff. The other one I put on Craigslist for $399
Cover your cost.
and got it. Right, so I've got a free table now. What happened? The guy drove 3 hours to get here.
Yeah.
And he presented me with cash, no questions asked. And I said, look, you've come a long way. I said, I'd like to give you something to go along with them. And what I gave him were a pair of stilts made out of hockey sticks, signed by Walter Gretzky.
Oh my goodness.
I've got on the wall next to me is a pair of coffee can stilts that we had for a stilt walk promotion, and they're signed by Doug the Great, who's the world record holder for walking on 50-foot 9-inch stilts. And on the other side, they're signed by Walter.
Story tour. Wow.
They're signed by Walter. So,
how great.
Yeah.
See, when you get this old, you have all these great memories, right?
Yeah.
As long as
It
you can
is. It's
remember
wonderful.
them.
This is old fart time here.
Well,
As long as you can remember them.
Yeah, I live near Brantford, Ontario, so we see Wayne quite often. One time I was having lunch with Walter at the golf course. He came to meet my dad, who had had a stroke, and as you know, Walter had had a stroke.
Right.
So he came to have lunch with us, and we were having lunch, and this lady walked up to us and said, "Walter, could I get an autograph for my son?" And Walter said, "Sure. What's his name?" And she gave him the name, and he wrote it all out on a piece of paper that she had. And Walter said, "Would he like one from Wayne?" And she said, "Oh my God, you could get one from Wayne?"
You think?
He said, "He's my son. He's a good boy. He'll do what he's told."
Especially since Walter was up at 4 a.m. in the morning to drive him to hockey practice.
Yeah, exactly. So the connection to the Gretzkys here in Brantford is something.
Yeah.
I lived in Edmonton for 4 years during one of their cup runs back in 1990. And the people that I worked with in the office, we used to go and see the practices at the West Edmonton Mall. And one day after practice, we thought, well, okay, it was a morning practice. We'll go up and have lunch. So we went up to a restaurant called Puck's, which was just above the arena in the mall. They have a rink in the mall. So we went up to Puck's and we ordered lunch, and we waited. And I thought, oh my God, this is never coming. So I called the waitress over and I said, "Are we ever going to get lunch?" She goes, "Oh, here, let me go check on it." So she went to check, and who came out to serve us? Mark Messier.
Oh no, again.
He owned the restaurant. And he said, "Sorry about the wait. Lunch is on me." He said, "I'll take care of your bill." We stayed there and drank all afternoon. I think we had to call somebody to come and pick us up. We were so drunk by the end of it.
Fun.
But
fun.
Yeah.
New York Ranger Brian Leach married my friend's sister.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let me share one here.
And Mark Messier was the only player to ever captain 2 different teams to a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Really?
Oilers.
Now I've been watching him on the talk
Rangers
shows, kind of thing, and
tell me, my wife was pining over Henrik Lundqvist.
Oh,
okay. So if you were watching the pregame and the intermissions and the postgame analysis during the Stanley Cup, Hank is all duded up, sitting on the right side corner there. So she's like, "Boy, does he clean up nice."
Here's our start of these legacies here. This is Audrey, my wife, in the middle.
Yep. And
I know Audrey. I met her in Florida.
Carlson. This is William Carlson here.
Yeah.
This is Riley Smith, number 19.
Yep.
This is Shea Theodore.
Yep.
27.
Defenseman. This is Logan Thompson, all-star. first year rookie all-star goalie, kind of thing. We are at Wolfgang Puck's sports bar restaurant at downtown Summerlin. And let's see if I can move the camera from here. How would I do? No. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
This is so I'm shooting
And
video
by the way,
for this
they're all kneeling down right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
except for Bob. They're all kneeling.
Excellent.
Hey, so anyway, Shay Theodore is a part owner of this restaurant with Wolfgang Puck.
Nice.
So that's why he found it easy. They were supporting the Nevada SPCA was having a fundraiser at this restaurant, and these guys came and hung out for 3 hours and signed anything anybody brought to them.
Yeah.
And I saw a guy walk in with 10 goalie sticks for Logan Thompson to sign, and he signed all 10 of them.
Wow.
And he was, these guys sat at a table. I think you can see in front of them, there's pucks. They had stacks, 18 inches high of pucks, and they sat there and signed them, kind of thing. They, these are really good guys. That's
you'll find
hockey
players are pretty down to earth, aren't they?
Well,
yes.
after kicking each other's ass out there on the ice, what happens at the end of every series is you line up and shake hands. And if you watch, okay, nobody's dissing each other. In fact, there are a lot of hugs that are going across the teams. So
there have been, who was it with Petrangelo and on Dallas? What was his name?
It was not Bosa.
They wouldn't shake hands. They walked by each other and looked at each other, and
And how many beards get shaved right after the Stanley Cup? Okay,
not mine.
There's a lot of facial hair that gets lost after that. Okay? So little known fact: hockey players are the second most superstitious sports athlete after baseball players. Okay.
Yes.
At least hockey players change their socks and underwear. Okay.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you ever coach kids, man, you basically came with ammonia ampoules taped under your nose. Okay. Where'd you keep that hockey bag? In my closet. No, you're supposed to let that shit air out. Okay.
Yeah, you have to learn how to do laundry.
Anyway, thank you so much, Bob,
all right, guys,
for your friendship through the playoffs. And
Gary, I have had a wonderful time.
Yeah,
I have to tell you, I'm sharing you with there's about 3 or 4 other guys that are in other parts of the country that I'm texting the entire game with. You became one of 3 or 4, every game. I mean, I'm like, it's like back and forth here. My brother-in-law is from Minnesota, and he's now the city planner of Paris, Texas. And so he's been a hockey player up until he gave up when he turned 60. He quit playing there was a senior league he was still playing on. And then I have, friends and family literally all over the world. And so we were texting in Italy, and I had I just had this monster amount of people texting me. So I was thrilled that you got, I said, I have a real Canadian on this chat here,
Well, thank you so much for putting up with all my BS. And
we loved it,
let me just say
really loved
Jim Beauchart. Jim's in the chat there.
Jim's hey Beauchart.
Yeah,
that's
yes.
right, Jim.
Hey,
Hockey
Jim.
players do.
And TJ.
Sorry, we had to eliminate the Canadians again this year, but
Yeah,
you know,
but
we
like we said
appreciate
earlier,
that,
the
Well, you
Stanley
know,
and
Cup will
everybody
be
knows.
the Stanley
Vegas,
Cup will be up in Canada most of the year
yeah,
because so
Yes,
so many
Vegas,
players are
yes,
Canadian
Vegas had more Canadians on their roster than any other team in the
than any
NHL.
other team.
exactly.
So
Yes, 18, right?
yep,
Yeah,
Wasn't it
18.
18? 18, we had 23 or 24
18 of
on the
25.
roster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
25?
Yep.
yeah,
The
Okay.
roster's 25.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the average salary of an NHL player is, let's see, what do they have it now as? $4 million a year.
Wow.
So hockey's come a long way, believe me.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
For
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
did you
yes,
see the
yes,
three
yes.
guys in the stands with Chiefs jerseys on
No.
and glasses with tape in the middle? For those
Right.
that don't get
No.
that reference, for those that
Yeah.
they've been at almost every game, so the camera catches them occasionally. Okay,
It is,
so
I have to tell you, I've been to a lot of games in a lot of cities in my lifetime, but a home Golden Knights game is always, always,
it's a show.
I mean, the most fun. I mean, it is truly,
Oh, yeah.
you know, they have done an amazing job of making the experience of going to a hockey game just a thrill, you
Oh,
know?
it's so much showbiz there, eh? It
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what?
it looks
Oh,
Also,
great. I'll tell
definitely.
you.
the
Yeah.
plaza
You
in
know,
front of the T-Mobile, they did an excellent job with, and also in
yeah,
the city of Henderson, we have Water
yeah,
Street,
right.
and we have the workout facility right there, and that was a huge watch party for every game also.
Yes.
And
And
we have
they're,
a
you
lot of
know,
events,
downtown.
yeah, a lot of events, a lot of
Yeah.
vendors, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
There's a casino, Gary, that they built downtown. It used to be called the Las Vegas Club, and it was the sports net hub of Las
Yeah, the
Vegas
Mecca.
from the 40s and 50s and stuff like that. It was, you know, part of the original Las Vegas. And there were memorabilia in this casino, mostly baseball memorabilia, that was just fascinating. I mean, just absolutely amazing. But they tore that down and built this new hotel called Circa, and they built this mega swimming pool where the video screen is the width
What
of
is
the
it,
swimming
40
pool.
feet or something? They
Wow.
did something
Yes.
crazy. It's like a
And
40-foot
so
screen.
they can fill up the swimming pool and then all the space behind it and get about 12, 1,300 people in this swimming pool area there. So they played it, and
I'm
that
not
was free.
I'm not sure I'd want to be in that swimming pool with 1,300 people drinking in the pool.
A
Be like
lot of DNA
feel like
being
swimming in the
transferred
toilet.
there,
Yeah.
you know?
See, that's why we're
Yes.
old farts. That's why we're old farts, Gary.
Reminds me of a biker
That's
bar
why,
in Aurelia, Ontario, that out on Main Street they had a hot tub and a whole bunch of bikers in there drinking beer in the hot tub. You're like, oh God.
oh boy. Really, I got invited to a variety of things over the last few days, and I was like, no, I want to be in my recliner chair with my TV and
Absolutely.
my
That's where I
remote
was.
in
Yep,
my
yep.
hand. That I don't want to be anywhere else. If you want to come here, but that's where I'm going to be, you know?
I see Darren from UAVP is in the chat. He sent me a real
yeah?
big whack. He sent me a whack of stickers, so I'll be
Oh,
tossing,
good.
tossing those out on alternate Thursdays.
Okay,
and his
good.
and his business
Good,
cards
good.
with his logo on the back. So
Oh, cool.
and I also see
Good.
Ray Kelly is saying hi to us in the chat.
Ray Kelly's in.
Ray, how
Yeah,
are you,
yeah.
bud?
Yeah.
You feeling better, Ray? We know you had a little surgical procedure there, and so I can report to our friends there. I had a cardiology series of tests, and it was a long series of tests, and they checked everything. And I had my final meet up with the cardiologist this morning, and we changed one med, and he said, "You're gonna live another 20 years."
Nice.
You know, so just let everybody know the heart is still working, and I've outlived almost all of my male family, you know, so you know, I'm hanging in there.
Good stuff. All right.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yay. All right,
Okay.
everybody.
Thanks again, Bob. And
Thank you all. Let's Tom,
we'll see you again April 6th in person, right? In Florida?
I hope so. We are we're debating we may have we're going to Japan in May.
Okay,
we're going in May.
That gives you plenty of time.
I mean,
you got lots of time.
Yeah, I mean, so I may just fly in for, you know, an overnight or a couple nights and fly back, but I don't think we're going to bring an entourage and do that, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that is such a brotherhood.
Yeah, it was.
You know, maybe me and Tom we'll fly in for a couple nights. That would be good.
What we can do.
I'm
newly retired, so it's like a new job. I'm still trying to figure things out. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, Tom, you can go. You can go to Florida and put Bob in your bag. You know,
Bob. I think Bob is registered as a controlled substance, so we got to be careful.
You'll have to keep his battery.
But I am happy.
Yeah.
I have to tell you. Yes. All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna sign out here. We'll see you soon. Come back next week. Maybe then I'll have time to plan a show. I'm sorry, you know, I didn't have anything planned. This only thing planned was be in that seat. That's the time. I love you all. Take care.
Take care, all. As Ringo Starr said,
Bye-bye.
peace
Bye now.
and love.